is a place.
No, home is a feeling.
Home is my motherland.
It's more where you feel alive and inspired.
Well, I think we're talking about the same thing, aren't we?
Home is where our story begins. What's your story?
Homesick at Home every Friday from 9 to 10 p.m.
on Radio Van 103.1 with Ina MK
and Rina D.
Shot City, I'm coming home again.
Good evening, dear listeners of Radio Van. This is Homesick at Home, our English-speaking show, and it's Friday again. And we're here with Rina D and myself. And, of course, we're not alone in our studio. We have a wonderful, beautiful businesswoman, Victoria Aslanian. Good evening.
Good evening. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for accepting our invite. And now we're going to discover your story of life and success. Okay, so for those of you who don't have an access to a frequency, I'd like to remind you that you can go ahead and watch us. Not only listen, but watch live our video broadcast on our official website, www.radiovan.fm, also our Facebook page and Homesick at Home page. Also, we have an application which you can go ahead and download from our website. The information will pop up right after you go on our website. So, okay, let's go back. Yeah, first of all, happy summer to all of us.
Yes, first day of summer.
And we would like to congratulate also the International Children's Day. Yes. And just like the Little Prince.
We always mention the Little Prince.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite books as well.
We should try and keep the child that is within each of us. Okay, piece of philosophy. Now let's start. Let's start to investigate and discover Victoria. Victoria, John, let's start from the beginning. Where were you born? And
I was born here in Yerevan in 1982. I moved to Los Angeles with my mother and my sister in December of 1990. And I repatriated back to Yerevan about a little over 9 years ago. Okay. So it's been quite a journey and a few other stops along the way. But certainly the past 9 years of my life have been exhilarating, exciting, inspiring, and it's been wonderful to be part of something that really matters. So, which is, the ArmAs estate and ArmAs winery, which I'm the CEO of proudly so. My father is the founder, so he started it in 2007. He was the first one from our family to come back to Armenia. But in all honesty, we thought he has a hobby. Oh. He's been working very hard for 20 years, and we thought he wants to come back to the motherland, spend some time with grandma, enjoy her cooking, and plant some vines. He said, I want to plant some vines. But we had no idea what he was doing, and when a year later we came to christen my elder boy in 2008, honestly, shock and awe does not begin to explain what we felt when we saw what he had created. 180 hectares of paradise. Ooh. The foundation had certainly been set. 110 hectares of vineyards. Later on, we continued to develop it together, and 40 hectares of orchards like peaches, apricots, cherries, apples, plums, and all of these flavors and aromas transfer through the soil to the vines, so we get even better wines. World-class winery and distillery, boutique hotel, tasting room, kids play area, event area. I love this. No, you really must visit, and yes, I would suggest that you visit in the coming days, because exactly 1 week from now, we are celebrating our annual Wine and Jazz Festival. So this year it's going to be June 8th to the 9th, every day, amazing events set up. For instance, June 8th, it's going to be the Armenia TV and Radio Big Band with Yervan Yerzinkyan, Vahagan Hayrapetyan. Special guests will be Malchas, Chico's Memorial Trio. On the second day, it's going to be more folk jazz, Latino jazz with Gocht Band and Konalma Band. And on Sunday, it's going to be Vahagan Hayrapetyan once more with his sextet. So it's an amazing playbill.
Great. We will remind, so as the end of the show, we will remind the dates and the hours to the listeners so that they know when exactly to be.
Yes.
So how old is ArmAs?
Well, 2007, July 2007 is when my father purchased that land, 180 hectares, but at that point it was only rocks and snakes. But it was the best terroir, as they say in French. So terroir is the terrain, right? The growing environment, the soil, the water, just the environment for growing grapes. It's perfect terroir for fine wine and fine brandy, and also close to the city because he always had plans for agro-tourism, wine tourism. So it's only 40 minutes away from the city, and it's a very easy drive.
Where is it exactly?
Ashtarak, Noryedesia village, which is right before Kosh village, past Ujan.
Okay.
So, but it really is a piece of paradise, which of course we're very proud of. But aside from the beauty of it all, we're very proud for what it represents. You know, it represents the renaissance of Armenian wine. It represents agricultural development. It represents job creation. It represents decreasing emigration. Like we have people that work in our team from the surrounding 5 villages, and for 11 years now. Wow. So these villages,
Lovely.
you know, they're there for that. Production, export, tourism, cultural standards held high. So, of course, it's really amazing to be part of. But in all honesty, I wasn't that excited about it when I just got here. Because when I just got here, literally 4 days before I moved to Armenia, I found out I'm expecting my second boy. And at that point, imagine that it took almost 2 hours to get to the vineyards because the roads were awful. Now it's 40 minutes of smooth sailing. But it was very difficult for me to just be at home, be very pregnant, and not be able to do much. You know, so that was difficult. And in that sense, I really saw the transition, or the culture shock, because when you're not doing anything, you're observing, and you see things that are, you know, uncommon to you or make you sad. It's much worse. But when you're involved and you're part of the change, then things get much more
amazing. And I would like to know how she balances all of this. But right after our advertisement break,
Here we go.
we cannot avoid advertisements. Stay tuned. This is Homesick at Home, and our guest is amazing Victoria, CEO of ArmAs Winery. Stay tuned.
Steven's gone. Rafi's gone. Rena, what am I gonna do?
Well, dear, that's the way men are. Maybe you should try a woman.
What? Rena, kezi chegaf.
Ina hangazdatsi. I meant as a co-host.
Vay. Homesick at home.
This is how we do it. It's Friday night.
Yeah, this is how we do it. Shocking everyone. And we're back in our studio with our guest Victoria. And now let's hear the continuation of the story. So how come how could you manage and balance all this busy mom
Being
thing
a mother,
and
a wife,
starting and this big business
with lots of running, sometimes crying, but mostly Dukhov.
Dukhov, yeah. This is one of the most
secret.
important mottos for our days.
Absolutely. Actually, I did a TEDx speech, which I'm very proud of. It was very funny. If you have a chance to watch it, please do. It was BGYN, but the name of the speech is really around being Dukhov.
Yeah.
And about going after what we want and not being scared about how difficult the path is. Just recognizing what we want and really going after it and building our life the way we imagine it should be.
Great.
So, of course, it's not easy.
Yes.
Especially with young kids. And as a single mother, my boys are 8 and 10. But with some patience and practice and organization and resolve, it's manageable. And you know, only women are asked that question. How do you balance it?
That's right.
I've never seen a man CEO be asked the question, how do you balance work and family? The regular way. You know? And of course,
they don't know much about being a woman.
No, certainly we have a lot more guilt, if nothing else, under any and every circumstance.
That's right.
But, you know, you work on it and you realize what you're doing, why you're doing it. And as long as your heart is in the right place and your family is on the same page, then, you know, you have a really good head start. So,
Yes. I mean, hearing you talk about all of this, I can sense the passion. This is a passion, right, for you?
Absolutely, of course.
What is it that motivates you in life?
Love, achievement, and honoring what you were blessed with. You know, we were blessed with so much as a country, as a culture, as a family, and also I feel as a person. And I want to honor that in every way that I can. And I want to lead by example for my children, as my parents have for me. So that really motivates me. Progress certainly motivates me. Inspiration, when you see that, you know, either you make a change in someone's life or someone does something that makes a change in yours. And it may be something as big as, yes, an estate, or as small as a kind comment, an honest comment, you know. So that inspires me, like truth, love, you know.
Yes, I understand that.
And I'm very happy to be surrounded with lots of that. And wherever it's lacking, I seek it out.
So when was your next visit after you immigrated to...
So 1993, I remember we visited just for 11 days in October. I spent my 11th birthday here, and that was when there was no lights, no hot water. So, of course, as children, it was exotica in a sense, you know, candle lights and such, but it was quite a difference from the Armenia we had left. And then we didn't visit for another 3 or 4 years. But from around 1997, 98, every year we visited Armenia. We spent the summers with my grandmother, sometimes the winters, and sometimes even spring breaks. So whenever we had a summer vacation, we would fly out with my sister. So it was very interesting to see how Armenia is developing.
Yes.
And I would say, considering all the obstacles that we have had at every step of the way, it's rather commendable that despite that and in spite of that, not only the country aesthetically, but the people. You know, we've still grown. Yes. We've still achieved. So I'm very proud.
Victoria, how do you like New Armenia? And do you feel the difference?
Of course, I feel the difference. I felt the difference from, you know, every day I was here and I saw what was happening. It was incredibly inspiring, to say the least. And, you know, from the smallest differences that everyone notices, people smile more. People are more courteous, but to some really tangible and long-term differences in mentality, in that people are engaged. People are familiar with the political process now.
Yeah,
people,
exactly.
You know, and people also know that their voice matters, and they should talk about the different injustices that they see, and now they feel like they have an arena where that can happen. And I'm most proud of and thankful for, you know, the youth and all of the people who did that, and in such an elegant way, you know, clean, organized, without any violence, without any, grievances from, it was just beautiful. I'm shocked, and I'm just very happy.
It looks
to say
like
the
a
least.
fairy tale to a lot of people.
And of course, everyone is like, it's too good to be true.
Yeah.
And we all have our reservations, and we have our doubts, and we have our hopes. But what a start.
Yeah, great. And we hope that this will keep going and growing and blossoming. All this excitement and love around everything that happened.
Yes.
Victoria Jan, is there any wine philosophy that you possess that you want to share with us?
I only drink during 2 times in my life: when I'm in love and when I'm not in love.
Okay, do you drink now in this period of your life?
I do.
Okay, so you're in love.
We're not asking which one is it.
Well, no, my wine philosophy is enjoy it, appreciate it. Like anything else, realize that it's wine, like most things, can be viewed as art or as just something, right? Because it is an art. We take the best of nature, we take the best of our human abilities, and we create something to be enjoyed by us and by others. But unlike most art forms, the art of wine continues to develop in the bottle all by itself, even when the artist is through with creating it. So in that sense, it's kind of like life. You know, life is our masterpiece, and we may frame it and display it as we like. And then others can share it as our legacy. and we can hang it in the museum of our collective lives in our homes. So
that
I like
is,
that. I really
I
like
actually,
Arina Jan, write that down, please.
that. Oh, wow. I like it so much.
I kind of quoted myself. I recently did a speech at Skolkova, and which is where I'm getting my executive MBA. I'm almost done. It's been a year and a half. I graduate in September. July is my last classes in Moscow, but we had our degree talks. Yeah.
She's a mother.
Yeah.
She's a student. She's a businesswoman.
That was
Amazing.
a bit much. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a bit much, so I'm very happy that I'm almost done with it. But it's been quite an experience, especially considering the amazing people that I met during that time. That was the greatest thing that I'll take with me. But I did a speech where I kind of mentioned that. That's why, to be honest, it came so easily to me.
But it was beautiful.
Yeah, it
seriously.
was.
Yes.
We will use it for the message of our post.
Yes, we should.
of the
Victoria, you were named among the first female Armenian role models by the Swiss embassy.
Yes, that was very cool. And any such accolade or, anyone's recognition, it's certainly an honor. But aside from just, a medal or a certificate, what's not only humbling, but also incites responsibility, and also it's a privilege, is that anytime that I have such an opportunity to speak in front of people, especially in front of young people, it really is a privilege, because when you have a group of people who are interested in the life that you've led and the things that you have to say, then you should certainly take that seriously. And I do, and I thoroughly enjoy it, especially when I see the very bright, inside and out bright youth that we have here. So those are some of my, that's what inspires me. Because obviously, as you can imagine, running a big business that's international in a sense, it takes quite a bit of energy, and many days are very, very hard. We try not to be negative, because it's just negative energy. What's the point? It's going to be what it is, so we're very as positive as possible. But where I get my energy is from opportunities like that are afforded to me, where I get to speak with people and share, and we get to converse, and you feel like, okay, all of the difficulties and the hardship, whether it was personal or in business, it's worth something.
Of course.
Because if you can share, if you've gained a little bit of wisdom and you see someone, it incites a spark, your sad story, then you're like, okay, worth it. You feel great about it. So
there's a saying that if the stars light up, that means that someone needs it. So we will wish to you that your star lights up bright in the horizon of different.
But it's pretty bright now here, right now. We can sense it, we can see
great.
it and feel it.
Victoria, so since our show is called Homesick at Home, and this is one of the most frequently asked questions here in our studio during our show, what is home, first of all? How would you define it? And then where is your home?
Well, home is where the heart is. And the heart, I know it's a cliche phrase, but I love it because it's true.
It's true, of course.
And the heart is love. It's family, first and foremost. Of course, then after family, it's the motherland, wherever you grew up. For me, of course, I was born in Yerevan, and I've been living in Armenia. So for the first 8 or 9 years of my life, and the previous 8 or 9 years of my life, I've been in Armenia. And in between, I was in Los Angeles and San Francisco. So my first and current home is certainly Yerevan. But also I have a home in Los Angeles. My mother still lives there. 2 of my sisters still live there. My nieces live there. I have some cousins. I have family, and I grew up there. When I'm there, I always miss Yerevan and Armenia, and of course my home here. But to be honest, when I'm here, I don't miss Los Angeles. I miss my mom and my sisters.
Sure.
Okay.
I miss my family.
The relationship.
There. Yeah, even though I grew up there, so certainly I have a huge, ties there, and I went to school there, and I went to university there. I grew up there, so of course. And I loved it. I had a very happy childhood, to be honest, and I'm very grateful for that. But no, this is home. This is absolutely home.
So don't you try to convert them? I mean, to make them come.
Well, then who's going to send me my stuff?
True.
It's not convenient.
A very good argument. I like that.
That's cool.
Okay, let them stay there.
They visit, we visit, it all works out.
Yeah. Do you have any free time? I don't know if I should ask you this question or not.
Well, you always make time for what you want to make time for.
Okay.
So you want to call it free or busy having fun or busy sleeping or whatnot. I find it.
So what do you do for fun? Let's phrase it this way.
Well, first of all, we always say sometimes we play at work. We work hard, but sometimes we play at work. And really, we have so many different celebrations, and we try to make a celebration out of everything. For instance, Wine and Jazz Festival. We do Blessing of the Grapes Festival again, always with.
I love it.
Yeah, we always pair, music, culture, food, wine, in a gorgeous setting. We do Harvest in Harmony. And several others, and we have a few more lined up for this year and the beginning of next. So I try to enjoy what I'm doing, because if not, then it's very difficult to recharge when you're on a very fast pace. And I try to save energy so that I don't lose my patience with my children. To be honest, that was a few years ago. I kind of promised myself, because I noticed that I was getting so upset at work and so upset, just with all of the travel and everything that I was doing, that by the time that I would be with my kids, I would lose my patience. And I realized
that happens a lot. So how do you do it? Please.
One day,
I'm waiting for
more
this.
Details.
I'm waiting for this.
Well, what I realized was, okay, I'm using all of my energy and my patience and trying to groom my team and, so everyone in this happy environment. And one day I realized, I love you guys, but you're not my children. Mm-hmm. I will save my patience for my children who really need my patience. And if I need to get mad, I'd rather get mad at an adult, someone who can answer back. It's a fair
I'm going to
thing.
practice this.
Yeah, so I said, that's it. You know what? If I must lose my patience, I'd rather lose it with big people than, the people who just want my love and guidance. Mm-hmm. And then I set another rule. So, of course, we have a lot of evening plans too, lots of events, lots of invites and such. And so I decided that after a certain point that whenever, unless it was absolutely imperative and I was invited somewhere, unless I really, really had to go or very much wanted to, I said, I have a standing appointment every day, 7 to 9 p.m. weekdays, well, Sunday to Thursday night, with future CEOs. So this is serious meetings. This is meetings that I need to be at my best, and that's that. Mm-hmm. But it takes constant reminding yourself. It's very easy to forget. And the reason I think why we often lose our patience with our kids is because they can't answer back. Because if you lose your patience with someone who's going to be like, what? Then
excuse me.
Yeah, people allow you to treat them the way that you allow them to. Yeah. I mean, people treat you the way that you allow them to, and vice versa.
Yes.
And sometimes we take it out on the kids, and it is so unfair. Yes. So you have to make a conscious effort all the time, and then it becomes more natural, which is not to say
it's hard.
Yeah, of course it's hard. Which is not to say I didn't yell at least a few times at my kids today. I mean, we're people, of course.
And then you go on that guilt trip,
yes.
and
then you're trapped. Yeah.
Actually, once I had that guilt trip with my son. I got very upset, and then to ease my own guilt trip, I went and said to him, I said, I'm so sorry. That wasn't fair. I got very mad at you, and it wasn't you. I was just very stressed out. And he said, yeah, you always say that. I felt so awful, and that's where I sat down, and I had my pep talk, and I said, this stops now. And it did. Last for a few weeks, but then no, but
another reminder.
You have to be that happened a few years ago, and I'll never forget. Yeah. And I was like, that's not how I'm gonna be. No,
Victoria, you seem like a very strong woman. Listening to all these stories and about you. So, what is it that a strong woman needs?
Except
patience.
No, like any woman, love, care, understanding, and also strength by your side. And strength, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. It's not like you need to have this idealness from your parents, from your kids, from your spouses or your significant others. But, you want to be appreciated for who you are, who you really are. Whether it's strong or weak, patient or impatient, who you are.
Yeah. And I think it's a bit more difficult with even stronger women.
Yeah.
It's like a different game there,
Of course.
I have a friend who says strong woman is not something to be happy about, because a woman shouldn't be strong. So,
but see, that's the thing. Saying a woman shouldn't be strong. It's you are who you are, and also you slowly become who you want to be. I want to be stronger, to be honest. Yeah, I hope to be more disciplined and more patient and stronger and wiser and, all of that stuff.
So it depends on what do you understand by saying strong.
I mean, we might be strong in certain areas and then weak in others. So, and then falling into these stereotypes.
Exactly.
I don't know.
I could talk about stereotypes all day long. But I think as women, one of the we know the stereotypes about us, but and the things that are projected on us. Yeah. But I think what we should really focus on is letting go of the stereotypes we have about ourselves. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I am a woman, so this is more difficult, or I can't do this or that. It's like, okay, everything is what it is, and you make it what you make it. And some of us are born with more or less, whether it's just natural skill or it's other,
or something
required.
You gain.
Yeah.
Exactly. So everyone has more of something and less of something than someone else. So what will you make of it, and how will you make the best of it, and will you grow?
So just relax and enjoy the journey. Victoria, what is it?
Okay.
Go ahead.
No.
Okay, what is it that you cannot take?
I cannot take?
Yeah.
Dishonesty. I hate that. I mean, dishonesty.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst things. Also, I don't like unfairness, but things are unfair. You try to make it fair, but I think that's one of the worst things. Injustice, racism, sexism, homophobia. So that, I guess, maybe all of that stuff goes under unfairness. So hatred, bigotry, things like this.
Yes. Victoria, how would you describe yourself in 3 words?
Well, the thing is, okay,
I'm sorry.
I can think of a few words, certainly I can think of a few words, but then I can't use the word humble.
We'll improvise.
Okay,
Don't worry.
Loving, ambitious,
Humble,
faithful.
Faithful to everything you do.
To what I believe in. Havata.
Yes, because what we believe in is
we
true.
see a tattoo that says...
Yes.
It says Havata, so
Believe.
believe.
Okay.
But Hava, it's Harut, Victoria, Armen. So Harut and Armen are my boys. And I also have my parents' initials here, my sisters, and it's the ArmAs. So it's a very loaded image. And it's in the Tırçnaki, the zoomorphic design of Armenian, golden age of Armenian art history, from miniature art, biblical
the bird
art.
letters. Yeah.
Yes. So
It's beautiful.
yes.
Wonderful.
And even my dad got used to it.
That's an achievement.
Yeah,
Trust me.
Yeah, this was a big rebel move on my end, and I think I was like 30 when I did it, but still it was bold. Took a few months, but he's okay with it now. At the end of the day, strong, ambitious, but Armenian girl. Okay, woman.
with Armenian letters.
Yeah, so
okay, that matters.
we have our parents. And,
what is the best food that goes along with wine? Besides the cheese that we know.
Oh, just any. Well, of course, there's certain pairings, but it's what you like.
I
That's
mean,
it.
the white wine,
I can.
let's
Okay,
tell
of
a
course,
little
yes.
bit.
Some people know that you have white with fish, you have red with steak or meats, because the tannins of the red balance the meat, the oiliness of the meat, etc. And by the way, you have cheese with red wine, because if you have red wine, it can stain your teeth. But if you have a piece of cheese, the cheese has a certain acid which bleaches the enamel on your teeth.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
so
know
that's
that.
the French started this pairing. It's so that you still have clean teeth. Apples and spinach
So it
have the
wasn't
same
about the
thing, but
taste.
cheese and wine are better. But whatever you enjoy is what you should enjoy, and you should trust your own taste. So I like to have wine with everything, to be honest. So and especially when we have
Especially with love.
like I said,
Piece of information that we can
when
know.
in love and when not in love, wine is the answer. I don't know what the question is, but wine is the answer.
Great.
Do you have any hobbies, Victoria?
Yes, I like to dance and I like to write.
Oh.
And I travel, but lately I've been doing it so much that I never in my life thought that I would be one of those people to say, I'm tired of the traveling. It's like, that's an annoying phrase to hear. It's kind of like saying, oh my God, I'm just so thin. You know, these aren't things you should say out loud.
Yeah. Because some people may kill you.
Yeah, I can't gain weight no matter how much I eat. I'm like, please don't say that out loud. You know?
Bye.
So it was one of those same things. And I'm tired of the traveling, but it's been a bit much because at least once a month I've been away for school at Skolkovo in Moscow. But before the tiring of the traveling, I love to travel. I love to read, write, dance, and play games with my kids. We like to play cards and watch movies, things like that. Movies I love. I speak movies actually. Like I very often use movie phrases in
What's your
my lexicon.
favorite movie?
Oh, I have so
You
many.
stole
I
my
couldn't
question.
even begin.
I'm sorry.
What Dreams May Come. I used to love Meet Joe Black, but a little while ago I watched it and it wasn't the same for me. Shawshank Redemption. I'm trying to think of some of my favorites. I mean, Casino.
Okay, the last, yeah. Like
I have a really range.
maybe
of,
the last
Notebook.
movie that really impressed you, or which added your favorite list.
To be honest, lately I've been doing a marathon of Rocky with my kids because my elder son wants to be a boxer and he's taking it very seriously. So those were the movies that I've been watching most lately. I can't really think one at the top of my head, but maybe I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay.
Nothing is popping up. at this
What
moment.
about the book?
Okay, one of my favorite books, The Color Purple. Another one of my favorite books was The Fountainhead and Rind. Vahe Berberian's In the Name of the Father and the Son. I think every Armenian should read that. It's just, and not just Armenian, but I loved it so much. Banam. The Alchemist recently I reread and it really spoke to me. I love that because it was, about life's journey and how we can go to the strangest places and come back to absolutely where we were to begin with. But the whole point was what happened in between. So I really love
Nice.
that one. Yeah.
Okay, so was that the last book you read, or?
The Alchemist, and now I'm reading. I usually read several books at the same time, and very different books. Okay, I'm actually reading.
Isn't it distracting?
No, depends because they're different moods. Like, okay, I'm reading Oprah Super Soul Sunday. Okay, Oprah Super Soul Sunday compilation. I'm reading that, but it's not something that you sit down and read cover to cover because every chapter is completely different concepts, and you really need to, you should read a little bit, stop, think about it, read a little bit some more. I'm reading another book right now, actually, by Larry Flint. I picked it up last time I was in Los Angeles about politics and politicians and the wives and ladies in their lives that shape the building of a nation, which, it's a fun, easy read. So
What's the language?
English,
Okay.
English, yes. Yes, I read books to my kids in Armenian, which is also to get my Armenian more and more fluent. I never went to school here, so I kind of self-taught, but it's rather fluent now and getting better. But I'd love for it to be as efficient as my English is, because as I have a few things to say. I'd like to say them better in Armenian.
That's nice.
Victoria, is there a upcoming project that you would like to talk about?
Well, first and foremost, and the one nearest to date is Wine and Jazz, and we have very limited tickets. The first day is already sold out, so we only have availability now for June 9 and June 10th, and certainly within the next few days, that will too be sold out. So we hope the weather will be perfect, because it's going to be outdoors and people can have a sunset dinner, and it's going to be amazing music and service and the ambiance and people. Last year we did it. It really was something fantastic. Aside from that and other events we have lined up, finally this year we're going to release our first brandy. So it's been barrel aging for 5.5 years. Traditional, amazing, also from our estate. So we're excited about that. And export, and tours. So we have our tours that we have not only for tourists, but also for locals. And we opened our tasting room now as a restaurant. It's called Genats at ArmAs. So people can come, and it's just such a beautiful view and the nature. And kids can play. We have lots of, kids playing areas, ping pong tables, foosball, swing sets. It's family atmosphere, beautiful nature. And I just suggest you visit it once.
Yeah,
just
better
once.
to see once than hear 10 times.
And for those who are interested in the upcoming events, how can they reserve?
Get tickets?
So we recently, actually, it's been less than a year, we opened our little wine shop on Abovian Street, Abovian 4. So right where Northern Avenue ends, Abovian. And they can purchase them from there. They can also call 099-009-262 or go to our website, armas.am.
Or the Facebook page also.
Yes, of course. Facebook, Armas Wines.
Yes.
So
cool. We'll be looking forward, and we
should.
What are the days of the week?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday.
Evenings, yeah. So people are going to arrive around 7. Our buses are going to pick up people at the Marriott at 6 p.m. So they'll arrive around 7, get settled in, maybe order some food, and then the concert will be concerts from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m.
So this is on the 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Yes. So in no time at all.
8th weekend.
9 and 10th, I have performances.
Oh no, Rina. Okay, I'll tell about it. I'll tell you. I'll make pictures.
No, you'll join us on the 8th then.
Shushanik, do you hear us? Oh, okay. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. And
Victoria,
yes,
what is your
go ahead.
motto in life, or a quote that you go by, or it inspires you?
Be you. Just do it. Love. Dukhov.
Dukhov.
Yeah. Try harder sometimes. It depends. I can't stick to one motto or just a couple of words. It's, let your spirit shine. I mean, just don't be afraid. That's a big one, because all of us have so much fear. And the older you get, the more experiences you have, the more fear you have. But that's the worst. That's just the worst thing. It's the worst impediment ever, because it's such a huge difference between, fear and intuition. It's one thing when you have that gut, intuition, trust it, absolutely. Yes. But when you're afraid to do something because you think you're going to fail or you're not good enough, no, put that aside. And not to mention of, especially as parents, as mothers, like we fear things that like aliens might come in the evening, middle of the night and take your kid, like crazy stuff. We have too much fear. And
how to differ these two fears and intuition?
Practice makes perfect. Well, reality, really. Sometimes you have to get a reality check. Yeah. Like, could this happen? What is the likelihood? Like, don't fear the unknown. Fear something that, you've been getting warning signs like, if you do this, that will happen. Yeah. Or perhaps, you should change your friends. Who knows?
Do you believe in signs?
Absolutely. I absolutely believe in signs. And I think the most important thing is to figure out what your signs are. Like, I know what my signs are.
Yes.
I certainly can't teach them, but I know how the universe speaks to me. And the universe, universe, God, Hima, to each our own, but usually they whisper. At first it's whisper, and then it's like, you didn't hear that one? Okay, louder. And then it's like, now we need to get violent. Now you need to fall. You need to be in pain. You need to get your heart broken. Like, in one way or another, you're going to get that message.
Yeah.
So it's on you. Listen. You have to listen. Maybe that should be my motto. Listen.
Listen. Okay.
Sometimes it's just a whisper. It's a voice in your head, but you tend to ignore it. It's like
because
no.
because you don't want to hear it.
Yeah, because some changes are difficult to make.
Yes,
and some choices are even
and
more
we're
difficult.
usually scared of things we don't fully understand. So it takes courage to kind of try and understand that more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, speaking of courage, does this brave woman have phobias?
Marriage. No, I'm kidding. Well, only half kidding. No.
Only half kidding. I wasn't kidding.
No, fortunately, I do not have phobias. I mean, I have some healthy fears, but I try to replace that with action instead of that. But no phobias. No phobias, no allergies. And to be honest, it was like when I was a child, the first time I heard these words, phobias and allergies and things that just kind of slow you down, or I just said, I'm not going to have that, period. I'm not even going to believe it that I have it. I was a kid. I remember having this talk with myself, honestly, in Los Angeles. I must have been like 9 years old. And I saw lots of different kids. And I said, no, I don't want to have that. That's it. I won't even think about it, so I won't have it. And when I captured that thought, to be honest, I carried that same thought with me. Like, if you believe that, if that's what you want, like really, really believe it, then you can really go somewhere with this.
Havata.
Havata.
Dukhov, havata. Okay, luck or fate?
Both. And how do you know the difference anyway? Was it luck or was it fate? I mean,
do you believe in luck
I
or
believe
fate?
in both of those. Absolutely, of course. And
fusion.
yeah. And some things that are unlucky, aside from tragedies, of course, but are just there to teach you, so that you get in line with your fate. Like, this didn't work, that didn't work, this didn't work. Well, yeah, it didn't, because you're on the wrong path. Try it
or
differently.
you need to learn something.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your star sign, Victoria?
Scorpio.
I was gonna ask her.
I'm faster.
Scorpio and Tarm, fresh Scorpio, on the cusp. So Scorpio starts on the 24th. I'm on the 25th of October.
Okay.
So you could be a Libra.
I'm very much Scorpio.
She knows who she is.
And still learning.
How to know who you are?
Be who you are. Be it. Like, really be it. And don't let people make you feel bad about who you are. And, if you really be it, you'll eventually be surrounded by people who appreciate that. Because, of course, all of us want to be appreciated. It's very difficult to be standing alone and say, I am this or I am that. You want to be loved. You want to be cared for. You want to be admired by friends, family, loved ones. These are normal human things that we all want. So, but I think you actually get more of it if you're you, whoever that is. Try it out. I've been trying.
And discovering more of that.
Yeah.
By being.
And
Thank you,
also forgiving yourself for the mistakes that you
that's
made
a
or
big
the
one.
mistakes that you
That's
thought you
important.
made. Because sometimes we think we made mistakes because our parents told us so. Because our friends or our spouses or our age or your wisdom at the time said that was wrong. And then, you grow up, you get a little bit wiser, and you're like, no, that wasn't wrong, actually. This is wrong or whatnot. So that's really important to forgive yourself so that you can move on courageously. Because if you don't, then that's just like weakens you and tires you and drains your energy. And of course, we all make mistakes.
If your soul had a color, what would it be?
Purple. Like the Anmor.
Like the purple rain.
I wanted to ask you a question about freedom. What is the definition of freedom for a strong woman like you?
It's actually that's a definition that I've been trying to figure out and still am, to be honest. What is it? But it's not about what you can or cannot do. It's about how you feel inside. Like, are you comfortable in the person that you are? Because if you are, then you are free. Then you are free. Then you will find your path, forgive yourself, make mistakes, enjoy them, achieve, love, break hearts, get heartbroken, live. Living is freedom. If you can really live and do it honorably, but that honor only you define within yourself. And if you're blessed, then yes, the people around you will concur. But, be Dukhov. Be who you are. Seriously, that's what freedom is.
I know it's the title of our show.
And I don't want to confuse at any moment like Dukhov and arrogance or just courage. Sure. It's a way of life, like truth. Really, live in truth.
This is so Gigarov that I cannot even translate it.
Weak liver.
Gigarov and Dukhov. Truthfully, I love that.
Liberally.
We have a small advertisement
with
break.
the live lived.
We cannot be from advertisement, and so now let's start loving it and enjoying it. Stay tuned. We have another 10 minutes to go. This is Homesick at Home, and we are admired and totally hypnotized by our guest, Victoria Aslanian. Stay tuned.
Ռեն, խի ուշացար, պրիտոմ չզանգեցիր, պրոպկա էր։
Հայերեն խոսիր հասկնամ։
Ռեն, ինչու ուշացար, ընդ որում չզանգահարեցիր, խցանում էր։
Ինչեր։
Never mind.
Չէ, ասե ինչեր։
This isn't gonna work. Typical repeat.
Oh, here she goes again.
And I'll be doing it every Friday with you on Radio Van. Homesick at Home.
This is Homesick at Home, and we're almost done.
Unfortunately,
Victoria, how are you?
Excellent. How are you?
We are fine. We've enjoyed this show.
Likewise.
And I think after the show we're gonna enjoy some wine by ArmAs. If you're jealous, go and get it in the store. If not, then you can.
Or Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Try it
Too
anyway.
bad. Too bad.
So just to remind the listeners about the events.
So Wine and Jazz will be June 8th, 9th, and 10th. Right
8th
now
is sold out.
The 8th is sold out. Yes, June 9th it's Gocht Band and Con Alma Band, so folk jazz and Latino jazz. June 10th will be more classical jazz with Vahagen Hayrapetyan and his sextet. And they can have a sunset dinner. It's going to be outdoors, overlooking the vineyards and Mount Ararat. Hopefully, if it's a clear day, it's just magnanimously looking over us as well. It's stunning. Honestly, it's stunning. And if anyone would like to get a sneak peek, they can see the previous year's Wine and Jazz event that we did on YouTube or on our page, our website. So just type ArmAs Wine and Jazz, 4-minute video, and it'll give you a great idea of what we have coming up.
It will motivate you to just get
but reservations are absolutely necessary. So please call 099-009-262 or visit our ArmAs wine shop on Abovian 4.
Yes, and there's transportation to and fro. Yes.
Right. So because it's 40 minutes away, and of course there's going to be lots of drinking, we presume. We don't want people to drive. So our sprinters, like mini buses, are going to pick up everyone from the Marriott at 6 p.m. and then they'll be dropped off at around 11:30, 12 a.m. So
cool, amazing nights by ArmAs are coming soon, and so don't lose this opportunity if you don't have a ticket yet. Victoria, if you had a chance to meet any historical figure, alive or dead, who would that be?
So two, one Armenian and one non-Armenian. Tigran Metz and Leonardo da Vinci. So when I was in Berkeley, which is where I graduated, I studied art history. And I did I spent 6 months studying Da Vinci, just Da Vinci. And I just completely fell in love with him and the work that he had created, which is just magical. It's magic. What he created was magic, not just the art, but the 1,000-page codex where, he invented the helicopter like 500 years before it was actually invented. It just that codex, that book was lost. So I would just want to know, where did that come from? How did you get your signs or your like how? Just to be that, talk about a virtuoso in everything, in painting, in sculpture. He even, was a very witty writer and completely different, both sides of his brain. One was completely mechanical and the other completely
artistic,
art.
Yes.
So I would love to chat with him.
And Tigran Metz.
Yeah, and Tigran Metz, of course. I would love to get an insight into that time in history and how it was, transformed from chaos to, golden era. So, yeah.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
No woman?
Well, the most influential women in my life, actually, my grandmother. I have very, very bright memories of her. Unfortunately, she passed when I was 10. We call her the source, but she's amazing. But my mother is still, very healthy and very young, and she's my source. So she's absolutely the number one woman in my life, and honestly, not just because she's my mother. She's just amazing, and I'm so happy that, I can call on her and gain from her wisdom.
Is she watching us right now?
No, she's in Los Angeles, but I'm sure she will, she'll be hearing it soon. She's our number one fan, of course.
What's her name? We'll just say hello.
Susanna Martin, Martirosyan, Mama Jan, I love you. Mwah, mwah.
You say hello.
Hello, Susanna.
Hi, Mom.
Hello, all the way from Yerevan and from our cozy studio.
So, Victoria, do you have any questions to ask us? About the show, about anything that you'd like.
Well, who are among the most interesting guests that you've had?
We have to say you, of course.
Of course not.
No, seriously, this was very inspiring tonight, especially for us.
As women.
Yes, we
excited.
don't want to go there, but
I was kind of low these past days, and now it's all gone. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, let me ask something a little bit more Yerevan and a little bit more now. What are your biggest impressions in the changes in the last couple of weeks? Because, of course, that's what everyone is talking about.
Sure.
And it's worth to talk about it.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to mention, first of all, the big changes inside myself, because, being a totally anti-political person first, and then being a big patriot all my life, and even being joked around with my friends, teased by saying, "Oh, okay, why didn't you leave Armenia? You're still here, and what are you doing? You have connections, you have studied in the US, why don't you go there? You have so many friends," etc., etc. These kind of things. You know how it is.
Of course.
But recently having these doubts about, well, maybe they were right and maybe I should have done something like that. And hearing more and more things around that, oh, nothing's going to change in this country and it's impossible and blah, 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 and things like this. Never really liking the flag or tending to wear it or to wave it in the hand and things like this. There was a total really a total revolution inside of me. So I think this is what really matters, because every change starts from us, from each of us. And this is how I would like to just mention and be sure that it really was a revolution, because it wasn't just an euphoria like a lot of people say. I acknowledge, I notice these kind of changes inside. fell in love. I'm totally I fell in love with my country again, and this is what I'm mostly thankful for.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is
For me,
the most important.
This year started with the title change. As a woman, as a person, as a mother, as an artist. And it became much easier when I felt that around me, to feel it inside me. Being born in Syria, lived in Australia, I decided to come and live in this country because I had hope, I believed.
Yeah.
And in a way, it was very nostalgic how everything started, because this is how it all started in Syria. But thankfully, and I was glad that because the things we couldn't do in Syria, the people in Armenia had a chance to do right here. And it all went in the right direction. And I can see that, and I believe that it will continue.
And by the way, your mom is listening, and she says hello, Susanna Martin, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So hello back.
say hello.
Unfortunately, we're done with the time of enjoying your daughter in our studio. So we'll keep doing it after the show.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. The pleasure was mine. Mwah.
We really enjoyed it, and of course, we got a lot of positive energy from you as well. Have a great weekend. Have a fun Friday night, and see you.
And enjoy the summer.
Yeah, enjoy the summer. Don't forget to go to the Jazz and Wine.
Wine and jazz.
Thank you.